Welcome to vSkills YouTube channel. In this video, you will learn about the top interview questions for DHTML and JavaScript. So, let's get started. Question number 1. How can we control the events with DHTML? The answer is: for handling events in DHTML, we attach an event handler to HTML elements. The event handler waits until a certain event, for instance, a click on a link, takes place. After this, it handles the event by executing some JavaScript code that has been defined by us. Then, after the execution of the code, the event handlers come to their initial state and wait for the user to fire any event. Lastly, to handle events in DHTML we need to register an event handler. Question number 2. How to create a DHTML drop-down menu? The answer is: for creating a DHTML drop-down menu, we need JavaScript API. After that, we specify the image object and auth image object and string containing the URL of the auth version. Thirdly, we build the menu items, label items, and submenu items. Next, it is required to define our own global variables that will be used by the menu. Then, create the menu bar object, adding the menu labels and writing menu bars. Now, create menu objects, adding menu items, and writing menus. Lastly, hiding and displaying the menus and attaching style sheets. Question number 3. What is the difference between static and dynamic HTML? The answer is: firstly, static HTML once displayed cannot be changed, but dynamic HTML can be changed. Secondly, static web pages cannot have database access, but dynamic pages can be connected to the database. Thirdly, static HTML does not require server-side coding, but dynamic HTML requires server-side coding. Lastly, static HTML no animation or games can be developed, but dynamic HTML can perform this task. Question number 4. What is the process for uploading struts files in DHTML? The answer is: the interface org.apache.struts.upload.form file is used for the struts file upload application. This interface represents a file that has been uploaded by a client. It is the only interface or class in the upload package which is typically referenced directly by a struts application. Question number 5. What do you mean by XHTML? The answer is: XHTML stands for Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, that refers to a cross between HTML and XML. It helps us to create better formatted code for the site by making it more accessible. The XHTML has more strict syntax rules in comparison to HTML and gives a more consistent, well-structured format. Further, it makes the website easier to maintain, edit, convert and format in the long run. Question number 6. What do you understand by JavaScript? The answer is: JavaScript has been defined as a general-purpose programming language designed to allow programmers to control the behavior of software objects. It has been used widely in web browsers whose software objects tend to represent a variety of HTML elements in a document and the document itself. It is used with other kinds of objects in other environments. Therefore, it is important to distinguish JavaScript, the language, from the objects it can communicate within any particular environment. When JavaScript is used for web documentation, the scripts go directly inside the HTML documents and are downloaded to the browser with the rest of the HTML tags and content. Question number 7. Is there any difference between JavaScript and JScript? The answer is: Netscape provided the JavaScript language. Microsoft changed the name and called it JScript for avoiding the trademark issue. In other words, you can say JScript is the same as JavaScript, but Microsoft provides it. Question number 8. What do you understand by the term BOM? The answer is: BOM stands for Browser Object Model, that is used for providing interaction with the browser. The default object of a browser is a window. So, you can call all the functions of the window by defining the window or directly. Further, the window object provides various properties like document, history, screen, navigator, location, inner height, inner width and more. Question number 9. What is a history object? The answer is: the history object of a browser can be used for switching to history pages, such as back and forward from the current page or another page. There are 3 methods of history object. First, back, for loading the previous page. Second, forward, for loading the next page. Third, go, for loading the given page number. In this, the number may be positive for forward, negative for backward. Question number 10. What are the different data types available in JavaScript? The answer is, there are two types of data types in JavaScript. First, primitive data types. Includes byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean and char. Second, non-primitive data types, such as string, arrays, and classes. Question number 11. What do you mean by client-side JavaScript and server-side JavaScript? The answer is, client-side JavaScript contains the basic language and predefined objects which are relevant to running JavaScript in a browser. The client-side JavaScript is embedded directly in the HTML pages. The browser interprets this script at runtime. On the other hand, server-side JavaScript also resembles client-side JavaScript. It has relevant JavaScript which is to run on a server. The server-side JavaScript is deployed only after compilation. Question number 12. Is there any requirement for debugging in JavaScript? The answer is, JavaScript does not display any error message in a browser. However, these mistakes can affect the output. The best practice to find out the error is to debug the code. The code can be debugged easily by using web browsers like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox. However, for performing debugging, the following approaches can be used. Firstly, using the console.log method. Secondly, using debugger keyword. Question number 13. What do you mean by typed array object in JavaScript? The answer is, the JavaScript typed array object demonstrates an array like a view of an underlying binary data buffer. There can be any number of different global properties, whose values are typed array constructors for specific element types. Question number 14. What is hoisting in JavaScript? The answer is, hoisting can be defined as the default behavior of JavaScript in which all the variable and function declarations are moved on top. In short, hoisting is a process in which, irrespective of where the variables and functions are declared, they are moved on top of the scope. However, the scope can be both local and global. Question number 15. What do you mean by the term CSS? The answer is, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet that is used for the presentation part of the web page. The look and feel of the page is completely based on CSS. However, in DHTML, CSS rules can be modified at both the document and the element level using JavaScript with event handlers. They can add a significant amount of dynamism with very little code. Question number 16. What is a DOM? The answer is, DOM stands for Dynamic Object Model that defines the object and its properties. It is a standard way of accessing and manipulating static content. The document object model is a platform and language-neutral interface that enables programs and scripts to dynamically access the content and update it. Question number 17. What is the necessity of empty tag? The answer is, the first thing to notice with reference empty tag is that they need not be closed. The necessity of empty tags plays a crucial role in the development of web pages as we can create links to fine input tags that include buttons, text, hidden fields that provide links to images and line breaks. For instance, the tag is an empty tag used to draw a horizontal line on the page. Question number 18. What are the advantages of using external JavaScript? The answer is, some of the advantages of using external JavaScript in our code are: first, separation of code is done. Second, code maintainability is easy. Third, performance is better. Question number 19. Which browsers support DHTML? The answer is, DHTML is supported by a version of Netscape Navigator and Internet Explorer higher than 4.0 in the most convenient manner. As compared to both browsers, Internet Explorer higher than 4.0 supports the DHTML in the best way. Question number 20. What are the important components of dynamic HTML authoring? The answer is, some of the important components of dynamic HTML authoring are: first, relative positioning. Second, absolute positioning. Third, style modifications. Fourth, event handling. Question number 21. What is the difference between DHTML and HTML? The answer is, HTML is a markup language while DHTML is a collection of technologies. HTML is used to create static web pages while DHTML is capable of creating dynamic web pages. DHTML is used to create animations and dynamic menus, but HTML is not used. Question number 22. What do you understand by struts dispatch action in DHTML? The answer is, Dispatch action is defined as an action that comes with struts 1.1 or later, that helps to combine struts actions into a single class, each with its own method. The org.apache.struts.action.dispatch action class permits multiple operations to map to the different functions in the same action class. Question number 23, what are the steps used to create a tiles application in DHTML? The answer is: some of the steps used to create a tiles application in DHTML are: first, create a template that designs a layout for your application. Second, create the composing pages. Third, create a definition, which means that suppose that you configured tiles in web.xml to start up using the tiles servlet, we need to specify which files will contain the tiles definitions to load. Fourth, render the definition. Question number 24, how do you define logic match tag? The answer is: logic match tag can be defined as an evaluator that assesses the nested body content of the tag to check whether the specified value is an appropriate substring of the requested variable. It is required to match the variable specified by one of the selector attributes against the specified constant value. Therefore, if the value is a substring, the nested body content of this tag is thereby evaluated. Question number 25, what are the attributes that make up a DHTML? The answer is: DHTML, abbreviated as Dynamic HTML, which is used to increase the interactive ability and the visual effect of the web pages that is loaded in the browser. The primary technologies used in DHTML are namely HTML, JavaScript and CSS, also referred to as cascading style sheet. Question number 26, what are the primary advantages of JavaScript? The answer is: some of the advantages of JavaScript scripting language are: first, lightweight. JavaScript is easy to implement and has small memory footprints. Second, interpreted. It is an interpreted language such that instructions are executed directly. Third, object-oriented. JavaScript is an object-oriented language. Fourth, first-class functions. In JavaScript, the function can be used as a value. Fifth, scripting language. JavaScript is a language in which instructions are written for a runtime environment. Question number 27, what browser have you used for debugging? The answer is: we can enable debugging in the browser by pressing the F12 key on the keyboard. Thereafter choose the console tab to view the result, such that in console, we can set breakpoints and view the value in variables. Also, the modern browsers have a built-in debugger with them, for instance, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and Safari, which can be turned on and off. Question number 28, how do you describe JavaScript hoisting? The answer is: when we use the JavaScript hoisting method, an interpreter runs the code, such that all the variables are hoisted to the top of the original or current scope. When we have a variable declared anywhere inside the JavaScript code, then it is brought to the top. JavaScript hoisting method is only applicable for the declaration of a variable and not applicable for the initialization of a variable. Also, functions are hoisted to the top, whereas function explanations are not hoisted to the top. Question number 29, how do you define JavaScript strict mode? The answer is: strict mode is a restricted variant of JavaScript. In general, JavaScript is not very strict in throwing errors. But in strict mode, which throws all types of errors, even the silent errors. Thus, the process of debugging becomes easier and the chances for making mistake for the developer is reduced. Question number 30, how do you define self-invoking functions? The answer is: self-invoking functions are also referred to as immediately invoked function expressions or self-executing anonymous functions. Self-invoking functions are invoked automatically in the code, hence they are named as self-invoking functions. In general, we define a function and invoke it, yet if we want to execute a function automatically where it is explained, and if we are not going to call it again, we can use anonymous functions. Also, these kinds of functions have no name. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.